has that kind of experience, but match experience is hard to replace, so she'll need to get that quick.
Well, we are just about ready as Wake Forest in their new kits. I've got some gold on those kits, not directly all white. As Hanks will get the first touch, and we are underway here for 2023. Stoll on the outside wing, and there's Tyler Ochoa who gets the start.
Good for head coach Tony DeLuz to have her back for sure. She missed some time with an injury, and it was evident they had to patch that right back spot together.
Yeah, you could actually argue that back line for Wake Forest is their strength, especially if they get, of course, healthy, which that has been the theme for about 2 years now for Coach DeLuz. But, you add Zara Zavoshi in there, and then you have Ochoa. I think that's a very formidable back line for Coach DeLuz. And then you start from there, also with some creativity in the midfield. Of course, number 4, Small. Small already with a bunch of touches in this match as she moves over to that outside and then gets tripped up.
Yeah, she's clearly a focal point for this team as the number 10 right through the middle. This lineup will change considerably as the next couple of weeks go by, but for right now, she is going to be a big influence on this in the next couple of games.
Small also with international duties with Canada, along with Zavoshi. As Wake Forest now working from that back line up to that midfield as Carly Wilson holding that center mid position down. Also, you see number 33, Abby Colton, getting the start tonight. Quickly, Appalachian State, can they come up with a quick counter?
Excellent intervention there by Dempsey Brown, who is a very key player for this Wake team. True freshman, just into the program and already impressing. She is not in her natural position tonight.
The misplay there almost became crucial there for Wake Forest as Appalachian State almost came away with the first goal of the evening.
Yeah, you can tell that Dempsey capable at that position with that intervention, but also a bit out of position to allow the opening in the first place, so she'll have to get used to this spot quick. That's usually where Zara Zavoshi is.
As Ansbro, she was sensational in the summer at USLW. There's 65 teams in the USLW, Kyle, and she made first team all USLW with her duties at NC Courage, who got all the way to the championship. She was just a huge part of that back line.
Yeah, and her presence in this lineup is really critical because it allows Christine Johnson to move out wide, which is her preferred position. But as a junior, this is really the first chance she's getting to play consistent minutes at left back.
Hanks couldn't quite corral that. Hanks still trying to get her touch back with that sun gleaming right down at her eyes. And now App is trying to work their way into the final third. Studer unable to contribute the ball to Wood.
Yeah, both these teams just trying to get their attack going, trying to break the opposition down. No surprise early in the season that it may take a little time for teams to understand each other, get on the same page, and figure out where each other's going to be before they are actually there.
Now, not a lot of press yet from Appalachian State. When they were asked how they were going to approach the spring season, the first thing they said is, we want to press. We haven't seen that quite yet here in the opener.
Nope, it's not an overwhelming press, but they are in certain situations. And already a tactical wrinkle from Tony DeLuz when they tried to take that corner or that free kick quickly and just couldn't make it happen. You see Nikayla Small here. She starts out on the wing and cuts into the middle.
Look at Hanks on the outside, putting it into the box. Small turning and will try to get her left boot on it. She lost her footing. Still good sequence there by Wake Forest on that attack. Ochoa getting into the final third. Good tackle put on by Studer. Stoll trying to whip her body around for the service ball. It's out of bounds. It'll be a corner.
And that spell of possession was exactly how Tony DeLuz drew this up. You stole there as a traditional winger, but a capable midfielder. She dropped into midfield. Small moved out onto the wing. And then eventually, as the flow progresses, you end up with Nikayla Small as a number 10 and Stoll as the winger. I mean, it's exactly how you draw it up. That's the tactical wrinkle that he's looking for, and it's excellent to see them execute it just 5 minutes into the season.
Got a chance to see Coach DeLuz there briefly for a second on the sideline. Big ball over the top from the corner. As Colton will try to track it down. This is where you've got numbers and you try to have to see if you can find a window. But Appalachian did a good job of keeping their shape.
You have center backs up for a corner kick. And how about the flexibility of your team? Nikayla Small comes back to play center back for a moment while the defense recovers from that set piece.
Good step. Colton gets it in the center. Here's Small. Small with the probing passes. Ochoa has pinched in. Ochoa pinching. She can play pretty much all over the pitch. Dempsey Brown. Stole the winger. Brings two in. Here's the service ball and a half of a volley that just deflected off that ankle and went out of bounds. Still, you gotta like what you see with that attack and a couple balls inside the box. Check this out with Stoll bringing two defenders on. You can't ask for a better ball than that.
No.
It's right there in front of the six.
And there's a reason that Liv Stoll is a 90-minute capable player. She had the most minutes last year of any Wake Forest forward. She just continues to keep the motor churning.
Motor churning on the right side for Appalachian State as they try to work and get their numbers down in the final third. As they throw in, dead ball, then take a look at Appalachian State's head coach. Second year, Amy Haywood came over from the Queens City, Queens College. She was very successful there, former college player herself. We had the delight to talk to her last night, and she's just excited. She loves this team. She loves Boone.
She sure does. She told us, she said, when I first got here, I didn't quite understand why everybody is so in love with Boone. And she's like, now I get it.
Not that hard. Especially, I think they'd like some of that mountain air right now.
Mm-hmm.
How hot it is here on the 17th of August.
It's a bit toasty down there. We'll see if they end up having hydration breaks or not. I can tell you I would need a hydration break, but that maybe isn't the best barometer.
The officials tonight will be Kayla Polonsky in the center, assistant referee Kevin Maurer, and Josiah Park, and the alternate official Derek Brazalidis. Still 0-0 as Wake Forest with two shots. Appalachian State did have a good look, but did not register a shot. On a misplay by the defense. Those first game jitters. Here's Wilson. Ansbro wearing that captain band. Using that momentum from the summer. And once again, Wake Forest moving their way to the final third. Wood, left-footed shot, got blocked. She'll get another chance. Trying to poke it through. And a quick clearance by the Mountaineers.
That was brilliant play from Alex Wood. First of all, the side-footed one-touch pass that sprung the chance in the first place, and then she's there to receive it again. Kept with it after her first shot was blocked and almost got a second opportunity. Yet to really break this App State defense down, but it feels like it's coming if this continues.
Ansbro moving all the way. into the attacking third. Going to have to get back quickly. And Appalachian State over the top, but can't quite reach where they wanted to go. Looking in all intents and purposes, looking for Arkenfeld making that run. Arkenfeld, the sophomore from Sweden. One of the international players on this Appalachian State team. Now you think about it, Kyle, with Small back in the lineup, and then possibly getting back Sarah Savoshi, and then you get Malika back.
Yep.
And now you're starting to think we don't have enough slots. Yep. So a team like Wake Forest, who has kind of been overlooked just like Appalachian State in their conference, this time picked in the middle of the pack. But you look at the personnel, and especially if they are healthy, they could do a lot better than 7th.
Yeah, well, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle in the ACC. I mean, the power and the talent in this conference is out of control at the moment.
Yeah,
but you're absolutely right. All it takes during conference play is 1 or 2 upset results, and all of a sudden you're right in the thick of things. But it's a long season. They've got even more players in addition to the ones you mentioned. I mean, Emily Murphy, a transfer from UNC, is a huge piece of what this team can do.
You beat me to the punch. Yeah, I was going to say.
She'll be a big part of this mix sooner rather than later. And then a whole host of players off the bench. Emily Morris is one who will figure to be a big part of it.
And we're even failing to mention one of the superstars on this team with Faircloth, who was out too. So we talked to Coach DeLuz yesterday, just brought that up about the injury bug, and you could just see his frustration. You could see it, map it out. That's an army of a team for Coach DeLuz again. He likes to stack his team. But you could just see, he's like, you see it on paper, and then you get word that then you got someone injured, and then you have to fill in the holes. It's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. But that, he'll be the first to tell you, too. That's the nature of this game. Sometimes the injury luck goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. And you just kind of have to roll with it. That's why more and more and more you see the rosters just swelling with talent, because there's more talent to go around in today's women's game. I mean, you're seeing that all the way up to the Women's World Cup, but they also need it. Ouch. That is a bad tackle.
Yeah, that is.
And that is how you lose players. It thankfully looks like Kristen Johnson is going to be okay. Goodness, she went flying. Oof, honestly, that's a booking, Ty. I don't care how early it is in the game. That's a yellow card.
Just a little late and reckless.
It's very late, and you're swinging a foot at somebody else's ankles. If that goes a little more poorly, that could be an injury. It wasn't high, so it's not in the red card vicinity, but that should have been a yellow card.
Well, getting back to the roster of Wake Forest and how they develop players, as Small, as she will get into the 18. Hanks left foot, blocked again. The Mountaineers staying sturdy in the back line as Stowe almost found a window, and it's knocked away. Still, lots of opportunities, lots of touches in the box.
Yeah, Ty, and this encapsulates everything that head coach Tony DeLuz has been trying to tell his team. Stay patient in the final third. Wait for the good chance. Exactly what they did there with Stoll finally taking the best opportunity afforded to them. And don't panic and take players on. Be trusting of your own skill. That's exactly what Small did to begin that chance. She took 2 players on, weaved right through the middle of them.
Dipsy Brown was the one taking the corner. Nice ball, did get a touch to the head of the intended target, but still 0-0. There is Carrie Eagleston from right here in Winston-Salem. She played her high school ball at West Forsyth. She was a premier goalkeeper for West Forsyth, and she also got a state championship, and then also continued her run into the college game. And like you said, I mean, look how long she's been in the net for Appalachian State. I cut it down. It's almost 5 days in the net. That's how many minutes she has been the goalkeeper for the Mountaineers. 352 saves is insane.
Yeah, and 18 career shutouts. She's only a few away from the App State career record on that department, too. So she's quickly climbing up the all-time list at her school, and rightly so. I mean, that was a wonderful save. We talk about the buildup for Wake, but that was an absolutely spectacular save. It looked for all the world like Liv Stoll had the near post at her fingertips, and it was instead at the fingertips of the goalkeeper.
And her career, Kyle, you know how many shots she averages as she sees a match?
I don't think the App State head coach will want to hear
No,
this.
no, it's about, well, okay, get 2 years, but it's almost 13 shots per game that she sees. So, a lot of experience. There's Appalachian State with a set piece. This is something Coach DeLuz mentioned to us, that he wanted to make sure they locked it down.
Yeah, that's a big area of App State's game that they will try to use today, because as you saw there, it's not exactly convincing defensively from Wake Forest. The header from Ochoa, a bit inaccurate, and it just kind of, the more it pings around the area and pinballs between the bodies, the more the opposition can have an opportunity to poke one in. Got to be convincing defending those set pieces, because that's really where, you know, opponents who, this Wake team tries to play defense with offense, possess the ball a lot, make the other team work defensively. So if you're up against it, like App State is and will be today, those set pieces are really your biggest chances.
Colton in the center of the circle. Once again, Wake Forest trying to come up with another wave of attack here. Just under 28 minutes remaining in the first half. Kayla Hanks with just a little too heavy of a touch there, goes out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick for the Mountaineers. 2 corners for the Deacons, 6 shots. Still sitting 0-0. Wake Forest comes in with a top drawer soccer ranking on the recruiting class of 30th. They're never really high in those recruiting classes rankings per se, Kyle, but I was taking a look at one of these websites for women's soccer. I'll get to that in just a minute. It's Small brings almost a triple team. Stoll on the back stick, looking on the other end of it where Carly Wilson put up her foot and try to get it through. Doesn't matter, it was an offside call.
That, again, it's just, it looks so pretty, because you see Nikayla Small start it with this driving dribble forward. I'm going to guess the offside was on Stoll there on that first delivery, because I thought there at the far post she was on. I think it was Alex Wood there at the far post, yes. But either way, maybe Wilson. Either way, I thought that run was on. So I'm going to guess that the first one was the one that caused the flag to go up. Either way, it's just exactly how Coach DeLuz will have wanted it to go here through the first 26 minutes or so. Or excuse me, 15 minutes. Math.
Math. Impressed how that ball stayed in bounds. So, first game jitters, Kyle. You're not surprised about what we're seeing. Wake Forest with 6 shots, still sitting level, but Wake Forest obviously with more possession.
Yeah, so far they've had the better possession, the better chances. App State coming forward here, but Deeks defend it well. You know, this Mountaineers side continuing to trudge along well, and they've done well to manage the game to this point. But it does feel like the Deeks have started the better team.
The vet Studer will throw it in. And nobody really showing for her. She's getting frustrated. Fortunately, finds a target, and she will try to cross the ball off the foot of Johnson. A good stick by Wilson. Wilson comes up with it on the 50-50 ball.
That's another
great tackle. As Appalachian State with about 4-3 inside the box, knocked up in the air, could be dangerous, and what an outstanding job defensively back there to keep that one from crossing the line. That is Dempsey Brown, the freshman.
Brilliant job here by Dempsey Brown. Goalkeeper out of position, miscommunication between the two of them, and Brown is there to save the day. And she had to do this on 2 phases. One, obviously had to get there before the ball crossed the goal line, but 2, had to get there before the attacker did as well. So she beat both the ball and the App State forward to make that clearance. What a play by this freshman who is impressing all around early on. You do not see opening day freshman starters quite like this. She is doing it all.
Over the top, and unlucky touch, but still inside the box.
Flag stayed down too.
Flag did stay down. I think that surprised Howard in the net. Well, they kept fighting as Simon tried to pull that down from the air. A quick throw in by Studer.
Mountaineers really building into the game now.
Yeah, they really are. Good ball. Just nobody there. The only real option they had was Barbosa. It's Barbosa right there at the byline, and Wake Forest did a good job of shutting down the angles there. It will be a corner kick for the Mountaineers, their first corner of the evening. Set pieces, set pieces. That is what Coach DeLuce have to focus on. And they will witness their first corner as Appalachian State will get ready. Here's an outswinger high in the air and caught immediately by Howard. She came off the line brilliantly to claim it.
Excellent job by Howard. She'd been a little bit nervy there on a couple of deliveries, but that one very confident.
Last 90 minutes she played 2020 in that COVID year against Clemson. She was an outstanding USLW player for the Fusion 2 years ago, played for the Independents this year. She got save of the summer last summer, and I was fortunate to see it. So she can break out there and become one of those ridiculous keepers, which Coach DeLuce hopes he will see. And Appalachian State hoping to see another good chance, but it's immediately cleared by Ansbro. There's Hanks. Good pullback. Harris-Stoll on the right. Good 1-2. As Hanks tries to move it to her outside of her foot. And yeah, she may have ad-libbed a little bit there, but it does work. And the center ref will bring back the soccer ball, put it down for a set piece.
Yeah, that's one of those interesting calls where player gets the ball first and then the opponent. So there was definitely ball contact first and contact with Hanks's leg. So it's just about how dangerous the referee thinks it was and deems it's a foul. It's a dangerous set piece opportunity here.
Let's see how they're going to run with it. Sometimes they will once again try to aim for that far corner of the 6, and you already see Hanks posting up right there. Here's Dempsey Brown, the freshman. 3-person wall. Dempsey Brown, beautiful play, ball. And on the other end of it was Johnson, but she might have had trouble finding that in the air.
It was Hanks. It was Hanks who was coming back from an offside position. That was an odd one, man. That was I don't know if that was a designed play or what, but Hanks was standing quite offside and came back to really the empty space that the ball was floating to, but she knew she was off, so she couldn't play it, got too close to it anyways. It was odd.
The players are battling the sun as it's starting its way to setting. Another tough challenge, and this might be a booking.
I think this is a booking for accumulation more than anything over there on that far touchline. There have been a couple of hard fouls.
Yeah, the foul will be in the yellow card. Will be on Mubu Chisasala, who is from Miami, Florida.
She is a mainstay along this App State back line. Gisasola playing in all 19 matches last year and went 110 minutes against Marshall in the Sun Belt tournament, so she can go the distance.
Look at a small skirt, and here's onto the right. As Stoll trying to put this one, and somehow deflected off a defender and finds the side net on the opposite post. And Wake Forest, with a little bit of luck, sees the score go 1-0 their way.
Well, Ty, through the opening 20 minutes of this game, it has been exactly how head coach Tony DeLuz drew it up. That, not so much, but you'll take it any way they come, because this Wake Forest team deserves the lead. I mean, that's just cruel on the flip side
really
for App State, because this takes a gargantuan deflection, and you could not have placed that better. That almost ends up like a banana from the corner.
Right.
You know, it just loops right over the goalkeeper and into the corner from a really tight angle. That's harsh on App State, but for Wake Forest, it's hard to say they don't deserve the lead here.
So again, we said that players were battling the sun. Maybe for a second there, Eggleston had trouble trying to read the ball, but off a deflection, Stoll, who had 5 goals last season, gives the Deacons their first goal of 2023 off a deflection. It is 1-0. Deacons on top. Once again using Small, this time on the outlet. Is Small driving towards the byline, and a good slide tackle and poked away on the second touch by Caitlin Little.
Mountaineers not afraid to put a tackle in. That one was legal, but it is borderline when you take the opponent out like that, whether you get the ball or not. Have to be careful down in the defensive third, making tackles like that.
Colton able to turn. Hansbrough all the way up. There's Tim C. Brown. Playing it right down the touchline, but just veered to the right and out of bounds. Had the right idea, though, as it shows watching the eyes of Stoll making that run. The pitch looks gorgeous, though.
Oh, it's a great
Props
shape.
to the grounds crew.
Beautiful. Wouldn't expect anything less.
No, absolutely not. Also has the new logo in the middle, which is really cool from our view. James C. Brown having to take on defenders 1, 2, and 3. Got tripped up. She's still on her feet. Stoll gets it back heel to Wood, and Wood trying to find a way back to Stoll. James C. Brown stepping up. Diagonal ball to Stoll. Wood, nice turn. Wood, left foot shot and driven on the ground, but smothered by the keeper, Eggleston.
Yeah, she had surprising power on that shot. Centrally located ultimately, but on the turn and shoot, it's not a bad look. Never will hate on target shots. Always, as long as you make the goalkeeper work, things are going well.
Just keep shooting, just keep shooting. 8 shots now for the Deacons. That Deacons are not at all satisfied with just a 1-0 lead. So I think that's why you saw that surge, everybody up, trying to find that second goal. Appalachian State trying to level this up. Clipped into the box, headed away. And no need to track this one down quickly, as it'll be a throw-in for the Mountaineers. 1-0. Deacons on top of the Mountaineers here in the 5th all-time meeting between these two teams. Colton stepping up, gets the start. Number 33, we saw her in action yesterday during training, as well as Dempsey Brown, who also gets a start. Both of those players been key on some of these corner kicks that you'll see. Dempsey Brown definitely.
Yeah, she has probably the best set piece delivery on this team, at least from a service standpoint.
And she's a surprise too. She wasn't highly recruited, which again goes to how they're developed here at Wake Forest. Never really a top 10 recruiting class, even top 20. But looking at one of the most known talking heads of women's soccer in general, Chris Henderson of the also Independent, he has 13 pro prospects, possible pro prospects on this Wake Forest team, which is tied with UCLA, who won last season. Now, that's not the very top. I mean, you still got to go with Carolina. They have more. But still, for a Wake Forest team that usually do not get their top 10 recruiting classes, but to be developed and looked upon as 13 total on this roster as possible pro prospects, that's pretty telling. As Hanks will come out. Coach Deleuze, that's one of his things that he is set on. I'm not really big on what they are before they get here. It's when they leave.
Yeah, absolutely. Talks to the development on this team.
Good chance there by Wake Forest, but a better chance defensively by Appalachian State, knocking that one away. There's a changing of the attack. We've seen come up at the top with Duvall, replacing Hanks.
A couple of subs in, like you mentioned. Coach Deleuze told us, he didn't say it outright, but you could tell what he was trying to say. The winger depth on this team is some of the best they've had in quite a while. There are a lot of players who could step up in moments and make something happen.
And Allie Schmidt, also one of those players who came in, stole, gets knocked down, will be a free kick. Good officiating so far. Got to give props where props is due. Let's take a look at this foul.
App State, look, I get they're doing their best to keep this Wake team from truly dominating possession, but we've got to rein it in a little bit. There's been a lot of hard challenges so far. One that earned a yellow card, one that should have been a yellow card, and this one was borderline.
Dempsey Brown, another great ball. Got to have that wave of attack on the left. Still another chance, and just popped over the ball. Again, I think it was last touched. Actually, it was not touched, so it'll be a goal kick. And that was Duvall, who had a good look.
Just continuing to stay with it. Don't give up just because the initial shot or the second shot was blocked. Excellent rip, just over the crossbar.
Man, just an inch away from the fingers of Eagleston. And we got a goal kick. Still sitting 1-0. The only goal was a ball deflected by a defender from Appalachian State. And the goal will most likely go to Liv Stoll. 10 shots to nothing. As 3 of those are on goal. Wood trying to turn. Against High Point, their last exhibition game, Wake Forest just pelted shots after shots after shots. It was just 2-1 at halftime, but then things started to open up for the Demon Deacons in their attack, and those shots became goals. And they had a dominating performance over High Point in their last exhibition game. Hopefully riding that momentum into this match The Deacons lead 1-0. Appalachian State still sitting and keeping their form back there, not making things easy on this attack. Stoll, tough touch, able to place it over to Wilson, and Wilson placed it over the bar.
Again, staying with it. First touch for Stoll, definitely not what she was looking for, but managed to keep the chance alive and find a teammate with an opening. Just the finishing not there.
That's a brilliant touch. That is a good look on the observation of where spacing is.
Yeah, and I understand what Wilson was trying to do there. The opening wasn't terribly large. She pretty much had to pick out the top corner there for it to find the back of the net. So just aiming that one a little bit more than shooting it.
Just under 11 minutes remaining until we hit halftime. Wake Forest holding on to just a 1-0 lead, but they have pretty much cut the pitch in half, as Appalachian State will have to rely on their counter, which they're trying to build something here. Poaching on that outside part, but pinching in too was Sturgill for Appalachian State. Studer, miss hit. Stoll to take it. Stoll trying to pull it back, and Studer took it right back. Brecken Monteith, who is a former Wake Forest player, huge on that back line, not playing tonight, which of course has those roots here to Wake Forest, played in 2020, played the outside back position, was pretty impressive. Went to Baylor for a brief second. I don't think even suited up, and then got to Appalachian State. Unfortunately, she's not suited up here tonight. That's another senior leader for Coach Amy Haywood.
She's a versatile player too. Will be important for them.
From Charlotte, North Carolina. 18 starts last year. Wake Forest doing exactly what you were touching on earlier, Kyle. Taking on players. We've seen a couple where there's been two defenders on a Demon Deacon, and they've kept it at their feet and tried to work it around, and it's worked.
Yeah, and Kayla Small especially has really turned it on today. She is not afraid to go right at defenders.
Taryn Chance will come in. And also coming in is the transfer we talked about, Emily Murphy. Number 35, which most likely will be that focal point on the attack. And she is really a sensational talent. What a journey for her. 10 goals at UNC, also 10 assists. Played for Chelsea, had her first goal. The Chelsea ranks at 16 years old and draws a first foul. She is a vocal leader. I think you could see immediately once you kind of like introduce yourself that she has that eye of a competitor as well as a true teammate.
Yeah, she certainly does, and she's very talented on the field too. I mean, coming from Chelsea, she's got tons of experience over in England, brings that here. I also would like to point out before this free kick, refs has to start giving a few more yellow cards here. That was a clear yellow card foul as well.
Dempsey Brown, another good ball, and a half volley that is immediately knocked away or into the hands of Eagleston, and that's good goalkeeping. That was also another good, delicious ball. Look at that.
Yeah, right to the far post. Good poke. Just couldn't get it by the goalkeeper, Laurel Lansborough.
Keep those balls floating in there. If I'm Coach Toulouse, that's what I'm saying. Those balls are on the right vicinity. Dempsey Brown not getting pressed at all. Clock ticking out, about 6.5 remaining in the first 45 of the season opener. Wake Forest leading 1-0. That ball popped up and it hit Murphy in the arm. A handball will be called.
Unlucky touch there for Murphy. This App State team is very well organized. Been very impressed overall by the way that they have hemmed in this Wake Forest team. Deacs have had a couple of good looks, but none where you would say they, they have to score. Oof.
Madison Howard goes down, but and she was right on the spot there to come out and claim it.
Yeah, well, good goalkeeping. Striker got there late. That in and of itself is not a yellow card foul, but I think you saw it there from Howard, who gave the referee a bit of a look. Fans are starting to wonder, too, when is the yellow card going to come out? Accumulation-wise, it's starting to get there as well.
Small trying to distribute to Murphy. Murphy was well marked, but Wake Forest still in the attacking third. Duval plays this one on the carpet. Chance had a good look, but immediately smothered by the goalkeeping veteran, Eagleston. Take a look, just trying to wrap your body around to make that cross is tough, but still, Taryn Chance, and sorry, I got to do this, had a chance. Just a little.
I'm sure you'll get a few more chances for that this year.
Bada boom. Still, that's the right ball where you want to play it, even if you can't quite get a good touch on it. Clock ticking down, about 4.5 remaining in the first half.
And just to go back to an earlier point, I'd like to wrap up. I've been very impressed by this App State organization. They are pressing accurately in key moments, forcing the Deacs to play the ball back or square a number of different times. And Wake hasn't had a ton of wide open chances on the net. They've held a lot of possession, which defensively is good for the Deacs. But App State, they are organized and they are doing well to keep the Deacs from really playing dangerous balls. It's taken basically Nikayla Small taking the Mountaineers on the dribble to open them up.
And the longer they keep Wake Forest sitting at just 1-0, even despite the shot differential, that confidence continues to grow, or they think, or Appalachian State will say, hey, we're still in this, and they still are. And any type of counter can change the whole dynamic of this match. Small launches one, and it's over the bar, and it is going to be a goal kick.
Yeah, I think that deflected off the crossbar, Ty. That was an excellent hit from a really difficult angle. Had to contort her body basically almost in 180 degrees. She's facing away from goal, turns around. I think that pings off the top of the crossbar. That is not far from finding the back of the net.
Many chances, but still 1-0.
And you could tell the Deacs, too, are really trying to find Emily Murphy with the hold-up play. She's playing with her back to goal a lot. And you can tell, she didn't really play in preseason due to injury. So you can tell she's maybe a little rusty out front there with her first touch. But she will be hugely important in that hold-up play as they deliver the ball to her with her back to goal. And she'll either turn and shoot or try to play teammates vertically.
She came across the pond, highly recruited, was the point leader with the Tar Heels in 2021, all ACC freshman team. And now she makes her way to Winston-Salem. Having to battle the injury bug too. She's hoping to resurrect her college career in a sense, but very talented player. A lot of good soccer in front of her. Hansbrough thought about it, decided to bring it back. A square pass to Dempsey Brown. 1-2 right back to Brown. Moving on a probing pass to Murphy. Murphy will get it back with the right foot. Sprays it to the right to Small. Small tiptoeing on the 18 as Colton now slides it over to Johnston. Ooh, nice dummy play, and Swanson can't quite bring that one back. But what a dummy play, because that really fooled the defender there.
And the referee, allows that foul that happened earlier in the play to go unpunished. And you got to start thinking, if you're head coach Tony DeLuz, at some point, if you allow this to continue without showing yellow cards, it's going to become dangerous. And again, some of these decisions are 50-50 whether their bookings are not in a vacuum. But as they compile, you're allowing this Mountaineers team to be that physical and that reckless, and it's going to have consequences later in the game if you don't nip it in the bud here.
Appalachian State trying to see if they could work something into that attacking third, but maybe 2 or 3 looks at the net, but coming up with nothing as they trail Wake Forest 1-0 at the end of the first 45. Kyle, your thoughts in the first half?
I was really impressed with talent, but just can't find a way through, right? So it's a gauntlet, but like I said earlier, you find 1 or 2 upsets because the top is so good and surely will cannibalize itself a little bit.
The ACC has sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The ACC has had a team in the NCAA Women's College Cup in 40 of the last 41 NCAA tournaments, and each of the past 17.
Yeah, and like I said, because there are losses to go around amongst the top teams as they beat each other, you get 1 or 2 upsets and you're right in the mix.
I think, too, we saw the ending of how Carolina was 16 seconds away from getting another title, and then having that one ripped away. I think that is going to be on the mind of the Tar Heels for payback. But, there's a lot of teams that could creep up on you. Pittsburgh's one of them. Pittsburgh's one that has been getting a lot of love. I think this team right here, Wake Forest, is a sleeper.
Speaking of creeping up on you, this App State team has had a good start through the first minute of this second half, pressuring the Wake back line.
Yeah, they're good to have their focus on. It's still just 1-0. I think that's what Coach Amy Haywood is preaching to her team. We talked to her yesterday, and one of the first things she wanted to establish at her first year at Appalachian State was what? Knowing, learning, living like a winner. And basically changing the whole chemistry, the culture on expecting to win.
Yeah, and I thought it was really astute and interesting. I said, well, where'd you learn to win? And she said, well, I made mistakes as a player. I knew what worked and what didn't. So she brings that experience now here to this team and tries to teach basically younger versions of herself earlier than she learned it.
It all comes down to discipline.
Yep.
That's really what it all is. And, I think you're seeing some results for Amy Haywood. What they did last season, and then moving into the spring, and they did not play slouches in the spring. They played Virginia Tech. They played South Carolina. And they did not lose a match the entire spring. So there's a lot of motivation in this Mountaineer team to prove something in the Sun Belt, which they very well can.
And two, to further that point, I thought it was interesting because I think she knows as much as we do, saying, oh, we have to learn how to win is kind of a buzzword, right, or a little bit of coach speak. And she followed it up and she said, that's, when you think of what it takes to win, it's everything. It's what do winners eat? How do winners sleep, right? Like all that stuff. How do you manage a schedule? Those are really what she means by learning how to win.
Especially now, with nutrition science and everything. I mean, it's down to every second. As Appalachian State, again, threatening. Good ball played into the 18, but cleared away. Wake Forest wants to quickly counter, get down the pitch. Small leading the charge. She's got her options. Placed it up in front for possibly Wood to take full initiative, but it's claimed immediately by Eagleston.
Yeah, and that was really well defended, Ty. That was a 3-on-2 chance. And basically the best player on the pitch through the first half charging right at them. And they didn't panic at all. The trailing defenders stayed right with their attacker, right on the shoulder. And it basically gave Nikayla Small no option there. She tried to thread that vertical ball, but it would have taken a pinpoint delivery to make that happen. That's really good transition defending.
Oh, good outside of the boot, placing the ball right there into the 18 in the middle. Good play by Hanks. As that's just good goaltending too. That's good just reflexes and reading that ball as Eagleston came out and stopped any type of maybe a boot from a Wake Forest player to attempt it on frame. And that was brilliant play though by Hanks on that outside of a boot. As Wake Forest once again trying to cut the pitch in half. Still just trailing 1-0. Excuse me, winning 1-0. Leading 1-0 at early goings of the second half. Hanks is back in. She did go out halfway through the first half for Duval. Ball stayed in bounds. And here is Izzy. We haven't heard her name a lot in this match, but Izzy Wood, you most likely will hear her name a lot here in the second half. As the Deeks work down the right channel. Only real two options. As Appalachian State have been sensational getting back. There was 4 versus 3 there in favor of Appalachian State. So they're getting their numbers back to stomp out any type of threat by this Wake Forest team. They keep it at 1-0. It's still a chance.
Oh, nice move. Good scale.
Good delivery, but just nobody there. Appalachian State is claiming that there's a handball that was missed by the side judge.
There's not much in that, and
Schmidt, I believe.
Even if it was, there's no advantage gain. There's no player within about 10 yards of her. It would have just hit her chest anyways, so would be kind of obscene to give a penalty there.
Jesus Solid will throw it in. The Mountaineers looking to level it up at 1. They have kept it just 1-0. The defense has been stout. Now Coach Amy Haywood and the Mountaineers hope that they can find something offensively. Unlucky touch, trying to pull that one down as Barbosa sends it out of bounds. Wilson showing there on the byline, finally played. Here's Johnson. Very risky, but when you have somebody like Ansbro there, I would trust her completely.
She has really blossomed into quite a defender. You know, you mentioned her accolades earlier, and the minutes that she's played for this team over the last year plus, but she's had to wait and earn those minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, you look at that Courage team that she played for this summer, and it is just loaded with talent. Chapel Hill players, Duke players, All-Americans. At one point, a USA player with Heather O'Reilly. And she was the mainstay back there and got first team USLW in the summer. Wilson in the middle, slides it to the right to Small. Small, diagonal pass for Stoll. Stoll 1v1 with a step over. She's got options. Stoll taken away brilliantly by the defense of Studer. But the Deacons get it right back on the doorstep of the final third. Ansbro, left-footed blast that was blocked, and that had to hurt. Barbosa moving. Wood. Here's the switch to the left side. Will this work out? Wood has her hand up on that far side, and a leaping punch over the bar by Madison Howard keeps it 1-0.
Excellent stop by Howard. App State has really controlled the start of this second half. That is an audacious chip that doesn't really have a lot of space, but boy, did she make Howard work for that save. Brilliant.
See all that space Barbosa had.
Yeah, there was some options
on
there.
That back porch there. That is 14-1. That's the first shot. It's still 1-0, and Appalachian State, that confidence is starting to swell. This is clipped into the box. Howard comes out and is met by an attacker. Is the fans with their hands up in the air as well as Kyle.
I don't understand. At some point, you've got to protect the team that's on the ball. And Howard, I mean, yeah, protecting of goalkeepers by referees has gone a little far over the years. But there's a reason, and right there, you see why. She's up and defenseless in the middle of the air, hands up, collecting the ball, and the attacker just comes in and undercuts her. I mean, right underneath. And that's dangerous. It's, first of all, it wasn't even called a foul, but it is a foul. But at some point, yellow cards have to come out too.
Johnson sliding, poking it up ahead to Hanks.
It's a great tackle.
And here's Colton.
There was danger in that tackle too if she missed.
Oh, somehow that threaded right to Colton. Colton to the left to Hanks. Hanks will continue to pinch into the middle. Tries a through ball, and that one just trickles into the hands of Eagleston.
Took too long on the ball, and I think her teammates were screaming for something to be played a little earlier. And you know what? That's okay. Tony DeLuz has been telling this team, don't panic in the final third. Find the opening. Do what you do best, which is play soccer. And she did that. She stayed on the ball. She took her space. Probably waited a little too long for what the chance dictated. But I think he will be okay with players being calm on the ball in the final third rather than panicking.
That run by Schmidt, too, was well done. All the way from the back line. And now moving close to that back line into the final third for Appalachian State, but it is snuffed out. And Wake Forest knocking it around. Izzy Wood trying to get between the two center backs. No success there, and Wake Forest building from the back. Moving into the midfield. Working diligently for that second goal. Hanks.
Patience is such a key trait in this game, especially in this system, but in the game of soccer overall, because it's so easy to get under pressure and lose your head. And this team has learned how to be patient.
Colton dancing on the ball. Hanks won't turn and distributes the ball exactly like you want, but just a heavy touch by Wood, maybe off the shin. Bounces right into the neighborhood of Eagleston. And still we sit 1-0. Appalachian State. Urgency. Barbosa. Right at the shoreline of the 18, looking for that left-footed curling ball. And a ball that's popped up, hoping for a little bit of touch of luck like Wake Forest had in the first half. But Howard able to make that catch. And she will wait for everybody to disperse. Good defense, taken away by Stolt as Johnson trying to move into the center of the pitch is tripped up, and it'll be a set piece for the home side. Appalachian State 6-9-4 last season. 5-5 in the Sun Belt. They start their 2023 campaign, and they're just one goal down to a Wake Forest squad.
Yeah, the Deacs have been a little wasteful in midfield this half, and I think you have to give App State credit for that. They have been a little more accurate with their pressing. They've picked their spots a little more, and it's been quality. And this Deac midfield right now has struggled to handle it a little bit.
We'll try it again, working from the back and moving it up the pitch as we're just under 30 minutes in the second half. Stoll into the center of the pitch. Wilson was trying to time her run, looking for the through ball. Small gets it. There's a run on the outside by Schmidt. Schmidt gets it this time, and she will slide and put a foot on it. It knocks off the post and deflected right back on the far post. Another chance by the Deacons, and still they come up empty-handed. It was Wilson that was sitting on that back stick that had another good look off that deflection, and this time the deflection does not work in the favor of the Demon Deacons.
Well, it's a funny game, soccer, because they get so fortunate on the opening goal in the first half, and there they did everything needed to score a goal, and somehow it still doesn't come off. That deflection is just inches out of the reach of Wilson at the far post, and if she's able to corral that comfortably, it's an easy tap-in. Inches matter in this game, Ty. It giveth and it taketh away, and while it giveth in the first half, it taketh away there. It all evens out in the end, which is why, when you get unlucky in this game, you just have to remember it will come back.
Hanks with a slalom run there. She's had to kind of use her hips to avoid the defenders. This time, she's going to be awarded a free kick. And this is a good spot for Wake Forest if they can execute to put in the second goal of the match. Hansbrough has come up. It's Colton as well as Johnson. Schmidt. An entire back line has come up into this attack. Clipped high in the air. Will bait the goalkeeper to come out and punch it away. And now Appalachian State. The ill-advised pass there by Izzy.
I tell you what, though, Ty, that's really good goalkeeping from Eagleston. She knew exactly what she was doing. She used that punch as basically a pass. Rather than catching it and then springing the counter by rolling it, which takes an extra second, really good goalkeeping.
Yeah, you would think that Appalachian State, once that was knocked away, Izzy Wood would have played a different ball, but...
Yeah, they had numbers on the break there.
Yeah, they did. Now Wake Forest trying to penetrate, get past the back line. Wood.
Just put a defender on her rear. That's for the highlight reel.
Wood tracks it down. Gets past one defender, splits the defenders to Wilson, as Stoll lays it off to the right to Small. Stoll try to turn.
Got to take a shot at some point.
Yeah, a couple pullbacks, although those windows were awfully narrow. And Appalachian State just taking it and playing clear ball.
As the chance continues to tick on like that, at some point just put a shot on frame, because with so many numbers drawn forward, the chances of getting a rebound are high. Nothing wrong with firing one on frame there eventually.
Johnson. Hanks again. Improving towards the center of the pitch with a long diagonal ball to Small. 4 targets inside the box. This time connected, laid off. Won't be able to turn, is the hopes for some attacker to be right outside of the 18 with a blast. Now has Barbosa on an island as she's able to get the defender to commit. Here's Wood.
Laurel Ansborough, she's been great. She was great last year, great all summer, and great throughout this game, but that was a bit of a mistake. She fades towards the ball carrier, who's already covered, and leaves Izzy Brown Izzy Wood wide open, all alone. If that ball's played a little earlier and a little more vertically, or either or,
right,
that's a 1v1 chance for App State. Ansborough has to know that the ball carrier's marked. You got to cover the trailer.
Still sitting 1-0 Wake Forest way, but that is one chance that Appalachian State will look on the film and say they want that one back. Wood.
We'll give Ansborough credit, too, for recovering as well.
Hanks inside the 18. Hanks dancing. Hanks trying to put it over the keeper, and it's punched away by Eagleston. It'll be a corner.
That will go down as a save, and a very good save. But you could tell exactly what she was trying to do here, Hanks, with her right. That's a cross, because there's a player at the far post or a little past it, and if she can get it over the goalkeeper here, that's a free header or a free tap-in right there at the far post. Really good creativity there, and good goalkeeping to know I better stop this chance in its tracks before it gets worse.
In swinger, knocked away, but Dempsey Brown will get it right back, and she'll put it right into the mixer. And that was intended for Wood. And she was making her way right there at that penalty spot. And some substitutions for both squads now. McIntyre comes in for the first time. Giacoletto in for the first time for Appalachian State, as well as Leela Stark, another one of the international players on this Appalachian State team. "23 minutes remaining. The Deacons getting close to 20 shots on the night, but one goal to show for, and that was a deflection. Small tried to hit it off the defender to get the corner kick, but the line judge wasn't buying it. Small, you remember last year, there was a lot of excitement about Small. She played with Team Canada. She went to the World Cup, the U20 World Cup, and you see her numbers there internationally. And then she got a knock and she could never recover from. But, I mean, she is an outstanding player, whether playing for Wake Forest or playing for Canada. She's got a bright future. Good service ball by Barbosa. Stoll. And Johnson who played that ball. I'm not sure if that was the intention to play it right there, but immediately cleaned up and sent high in the air. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be a shot.
Hopefully this is just a cramp.
But see, that's some issues from that back line that Wake Forest has seen some here in this first game. As we'll take a look at just the only goal in this matchup. 1-0 in a plethora of shots, Kyle. This is where Stoll, a little luck of the soccer gods there. And that's just tough, especially when you're having to fight the sun too. And Stoll, who one of the top scorers on this team last season, is the first Deacon to score, or at least contribute to a score, to make it 1-0.
Yeah, and it really speaks to the fine margins of this sport and this game, because the Deeks have really truly dominated this game. Maybe not so much the second half for sure, but definitely the first half. But really, App State is right there in this. It's 1-0, so obviously they are. But you look at the chances. The Deeks had a fluky goal that they scored. And they had maybe one other really, really good opportunity, maybe two, where the goalkeeper made a good save or, you know, it came off the post. But App State could point to one or two of their own. They had the one that was cleared off the line by Dempsey Brown in the first half. And Howard's made a couple of good saves here in the second half. So for all the dominance that Wake Forest have possessed in this game, the Mountaineers are right there.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, they're going to look back at some of these counters, especially what we saw with the possibility of playing Izzy Wood earlier. That's something that they'll go back and say that's where they can clean things up, because once you're playing a Power 5 competition, big-time competition, those type of chances aren't going to come many, many, many times in the match. As Barbosa going 1v1 with Johnson. Plays it back to the support in the air, and not a good touch on the ball in the air, but at least a chance. But still, we sit at 1-0. Deeks in the midfield as the back line is moved up to the midfield. Here's Hansbrough. Hansbrough looking to connect with Johnson. Johnson's going to have to quickly get back. And now Appalachian State will try to feast on it, but good defense by Carly Wilson.
Yeah, well done. And Laura Lansborough has done that a couple times tonight. She is very good on the ball and charges forward like that. She will take space that's afforded to her, but you have to know making that run, can't give it away like that, because now you're out of position. So if you're Tony DeLuz, you love those runs. Center back making a progressive run vertically like that is dangerous. You can really mess with an opposition shape by doing that, but got to be careful with the ball too.
Taryn Chance checks in. Swanson as well for the Demon Deacons. McIntyre still sitting at the striker position, or the outside winger.
Yeah, she and Stoll are kind of flip-flopping back and forth. A lot of freedom for those two.
Flighted ball. As Ochoa lays it off. Here is Small. Chance. Swanson. Johnson once again. All the way down here. The final third. Wilson scanning her options. Plays the smart ball to Small. Ochoa. A little miscommunication there on what the run was going to be. We stole, and that ball gets away, goes out of bounds.
Ty, I'm really impressed by the tactical flexibility of Wake Forest so far today. Players are moving all over the place in different positions, and the danger of doing that is that you can lose your shape, because you vacate one position. If you don't have somebody else to take it, now you're out of position, out of shape, and things get wonky. The amount of shifting and changing and fluidity in this Wake Forest formation, they have not really lost their shape at all, ever, and it's very impressive.
Swanson, who is on it, ran into the defender. Johnson off the deflection and a heavy touch, and it's cleaned up by the Appalachian State back line. Barbosa sending this one into the middle. Here's Chance.
You've got wingers dropping into midfield. You've got midfielders dropping to fullback and then moving up to striker. You've got the striker dropping into midfield. You've got, I mean, wingers at the number 9. It's all over the place. And that's hard to do without communication at level 10.
This is Summer Bowman, who is come in. Can't turn. Appalachian State working on something here. This looks promising, but offside call. The flag was up.
Now, that being said, the tactical flexibility for the Deacs here in this second half hasn't really earned them much. In fact, they've been a little wasteful in possession, or sloppy in possession, if anything. So credit App State as well for handling the fluidity, because you could lose opponents as they're moving around this much. I mean, you've got Nikayla Small, who's drifting out to right wing now and has swapped with Liv Stoll. Oof, I mean, that's a foul.
Still sitting 2 shots shy of 20. But just a 1 goal cushion for the Demon Deacons. Showa.
Great
good
ball.
Good vision. Stoll stops it. Play the support. McIntyre trying to cut it back. And Appalachian State, with their back against the walls, just trying to get it out of bounds or cleared away so they can get their shape back. Appalachian State's last Power 5 win was when they beat Maryland 2-1. That came September 4th of 2016. They trail just by 1 goal here to the Demon Deacons. A small double teamed right there at that inline. McIntyre. And Wake Forest will again reset. Hansbrough is trying to get Swanson to come up in that pocket. Appalachian State with possession. Working on something here. They try the deep long diagonal ball, hoping for Jesus Solid. Now Wake Forest once again playing within the back, which we've seen a couple times where they've had some miscommunication and some oops that almost resulted in an Appalachian State goal. Now that pressure becomes even more intense as the clock ticks down. Just under 14 minutes remaining. But the Deacons frustrated with just a 1-0 lead. Dipsy Brown steps up, will play Small. Small on that outside wing. Trying to get around the defender. Nice spin move. And now that stayed in bounds is beyond me, but it did, and Appalachian State come up with it. Substitutions in for both clubs. Duvall comes in. Regan Sturgill comes in for Appalachian State.
Izzy Wood back into the game for them as well.
Izzy Wood, who had that heartbreaking injury where she had to fight to get back. And there's a story in the Appalachian about she finally returned to the pitch. It was an exhibition game against UNC Asheville, and you could just see the emotion that just poured on by the whole team. They knew how much she had trained and fought to get back. She scored 2 goals in that one, too. Way to come back. She was the leading scorer last year for the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Wake Forest has done a good job of keeping her contained. But the Deeks, how many times knocking on the door? Which we saw that in the first half against High Point. There's Izzy Wood. 18 starts last season, 6 goals. There's 52 shots. She's from Hickory, North Carolina. Missing that 2021 season from an ACL injury. She's an outstanding high school player, too, and not too far from Hickory. She traveled to Appalachian State.
Amy Haywood told us that, you know, she was just so impressed with the focus and the mindset that she had during her recovery.
Well, not only did she play soccer in high school at Hickory, she was also a football player. So she played all the sports. $12 points last season. The Mountaineers would like to free her up for maybe a chance to go up against Madison Howard. As the Deeks, once again, they have grown accustomed to keeping it down in their attacking third.
Been really impressed by Dempsey Brown here so far today. She had made a run a couple of minutes ago on the far side that was high quality. She's got dribbling skills, set piece delivery, defensive abilities. Her positioning is great. She's a really good player.
Ball play, diagonal ball, shot from outside the 18. Did have a path, but last second, deflected and cleared away. So once again, no dice. Wake Forest, and the frustrations have to build and build. But I mean, I usually would say, at least I'm seeing shots. I know you're not getting the goals, but they will come. Just keep, like I said, keep shooting and shooting.
Oh, yeah, and I'll tell you this, too, Ty. I realize that the margin is thin, and a second goal would be huge here, but the comfort of knowing you have a lead already really takes the edge off when things are struggling in the attacking third.
Down the left channel, Appalachian State. That's a good ball, but coming off the line to clean it up is Madison Howard. She'll quickly distribute to Chance. Chance wants to continue to move into the middle. Lost it for a second, got it back, and then lost it again. Swanson comes to her aid, but a foul is going to be called on Wake Forest, and it'll be a free kick to the Mountaineers. Ticking down to 8.5 in this season opener. August 17th. The Demon Deacons and the Mountaineers.
Great play. Great combination. Oh.
McIntyre.
Wouldn't be surprised to see that be a yellow card when it comes back.
McIntyre had to get creative, try to pull it back. It was taken away, but Small in command, at least for the second, and then it's once again wiped clean by this defense of Appalachian State. Unlucky ball that gives Duvall. And Duvall was trying to play Small, but Small knew she was already in an offside position. So once that ball was played, she couldn't touch it anyway. It's not like she wasn't trying. She knew that she was already in an offside position. 86 miles separate these two teams, and some Deacon fans and Mountaineer fans would say this is a rivalry. But just the 5th time they have squared off against each other. Wake Forest in their 30th year of existence of ACC or NCAA women's soccer. There's a card given out. And 27 of those are under Coach DeLuz. So a card given to Dempsey Brown on that one. So
yeah, she booted the ball away in frustration afterwards. I mean, that's a soft, fine, call a foul. But, oh, I guess she gets, I thought she kicked the ball away.
No, that was
Wow,
Ochoa.
they gave that to her for the foul?
Wow. Ochoa.
Yeah,
Ochoa.
Okay.
For the, yeah.
I was going to say.
And that ball pinged around that was dangerously in the box. Luckily, Howard is able to tidy up back there and keep it from making it a 1-1 ball game. 6.5 to go. Wake Forest looking for another successful opener, but they've had to battle through this one. There's a good look. Shot by the left foot, and that one deflected again. It seems like every time you see Wake Forest, that was Vieira with a left-footed blast. But once again, Appalachian State has done well to get in front of any type of shot.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, too, before she got on top of that we're getting a chance to see Christy Vieira here. Just really a dedicated player to this program and someone who's put a lot of time and energy into it. Glad to see that she is here on the field and a chance to make something happen. She, you know, she's tall, sure, but she takes 1 or 2 fewer steps than anybody else on the field to get to where she's going, and almost glides on the field on the ball.
Barbosa gliding and sending one into the 6, but Howard comes out, makes the catch, quickly distributes to the right.
It's becoming a bit of a track meet here. Ooh, look at
Vieira put a pick on Small. Small is okay, though. Ochoa threads it. Slides it to the right to McIntyre. Can she keep it alive? And she can't. It is going to be a goal kick.
Man, I thought that was pinpoint when she delivered it, and it just kept going and going and going and going. How about this?
So with just under 5 minutes remaining, the Tar Heel transfer, Emily Murphy, has come in. We didn't expect to see her tonight, but surprise, we do see her, and we'll see what kind of impact she'll have with the last 4.5 to go. 20 shots now registered by this Demon Deacon squad to Appalachian State's 4.
Eagleston with 5 saves on the evening, and Howard with 4. Small finds a little pocket, had to maneuver a little bit, lost it. Possession to the Mountaineers, playing it back. Wake Forest thought they were going to quickly throw this one in, but they will allow time for a substitution. So Chance goes out and Stoll comes back in.
Chance put in a good shift, but I think Stoll has been the more active tonight in the final third. She's been really a dangerous player. Obviously, the one who created the goal, but also came from very fortunate deflection. She's just been really, really active, moving in central midfield, into the number 9 spot, out on the wing. She's all over the place.
Wilson, nice ball. Choa chasing that ball. Good play by Swanson. On the outside of her foot, that was the only ball she could play, and she did it.
How many times have we seen tonight a deflection ends up just inches wide of a wide open Wake Forest player, almost falling right in their lap, but just out of reach? The arrow was right there.
She was. I'm just amazed by Swanson able to get that place there in front into the 18 is Murphy.
Oh, we saw Murphy there about 2 steps earlier than she delivered that pass. She wanted the shot and decided not to. Right here, she looks up. Wanted the shot. You know what? A player of her quality, take it, have it. I get what she's trying to do. She ended up producing a pretty good through ball, but have it.
I think that's also what's really exciting about Murphy, too. She will pose a threat for shots outside of the 18. As Swanson plays Murphy on the right side, maneuvering. A slide tackle goes out of bounds. It will be a corner.
Very good tackle. We've seen a couple of those from App State. They've not been shy about their physicality. A couple of them have not been good. That one and a few others from Studer, very, very good.
You know, when Murphy was in primary school back in Windsor, England, her parents would ask how she ruined her shoes all the time and how she got those scrapes on her knees. Well, she said that she was playing soccer with the boys on concrete, and she would get new pairs of shoes like every 3 months. Finally, the parents wised up and just bought her cheap pairs of shoes and say, go have at it.
You're going to ruin them anyways. Yeah. That's dedication.
Small, double teamed right there at that flag. And with about 1.5 to go, Kyle, if this does go down as a 1-0 win for Wake Forest, you could say that it's disappointing. But if you're coached to lose, what are you going to tell your squad at the end?
I think they've been good. I really do. I don't think this is a disappointing performance at all. You know, they executed where they had to, picked up a goal in the first half. Was the goal fortunate? Sure. Did they deserve the lead? Yes. Have they probably deserved to win this game? Yes. I think the performance has been 3-point worthy, and I think he'll take that for sure. The goals will come. They've had a number of moments that were near misses, and not because of anything that the Deacs did wrong, but because the ball just bounced the wrong way. So while App State got unlucky on the game's only goal, they got lucky on a couple of other occasions. So it goes one way and then goes the other. I think this has been a very high-quality performance from the Deacs. A couple of nervy moments at the back, but you're always going to get that against a well-coached team like this, and I think overall it's been very good.
Well, the last meeting came in 2021 up in Boone, and it was a 2-0 Wake Forest victory. Of course, that was a 20-save match or evening for Eagleston in that one, her career high. That's outrageous to think of 20 saves. As Vieira, 15 seconds remaining. Murphy will just take it to the corner and bleed out the clock. And the Deacons, it may not be a pretty victory.
Hey, that's not okay.
And
probably should be a yellow card. There was that almost looked like a punch from up here. I mean, we're a little farther away, but yikes, at the end, you don't want that.
I was going to say, try to look at the clock and say that's got to be the end of the match. And it may not be the prettiest win, but it is a win at 6 consecutive season openers where the Demon Deacons have came out victorious, as Coach Tony DeLuz in his 27th season on the sideline, shaking hands. We'll take the 1-0 win over the Appalachian State Mountaineers. We'll build from it. It's still a win, still 3 points. Kyle, your thoughts?
Yeah, no question about it. I think there's definite positives and negatives to take from this. I think Nikayla Small's first half performance was excellent. Liv Stoll played well. The team communicated expertly, and there are improvements to be had. The final third, they have to get better. A little wasteful in midfield at times. And took a few too many risks at the back in possession. But other than that, I think overall, very positive performance. The creativity was great, and certainly a really, really good season opener to get 3 points from.
The Deeks brought in 21.